I want to thank all of you for your gifts at the class. I so many names to thank here. Lisa, there's so many of you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And this sweet thing, this is Autumn Parker. Little Autumn Parker came to see me a while back. And then Autumn painted me a beautiful little painting and wrote me a nice little letter. Isn't that sweet? These are our incredible futures, guys. And raising them on raw foods and giving them their health and their awareness back. My God, you guys are amazing. So thank you, the Nicholas family. Thank you, Autumn. Thank you so much. So much there. This was nice. I forget how old they are, but they're not very old. 5 and 6 maybe at the most. But thanks so much, guys. It really breaks your heart sometimes when you see what's going on around the world. This is a beautiful card as well. I want to thank Salome, Salome. This is a pro tennis player. And she was there. Very nice, sweetheart. And I appreciate your thoughts. Just beautiful. Pro tennis player traveling the world, gets the raw. You know, these pros are going to be the best of the best. As they get their health, their endurance, their flexibility, their ability to articulate, form, to recognize incoming. And I've said this even for martial artists. Just this level. There isn't any athletic module that you can't name that you can't excel with at this level. I'm thinking runners. Look at the runners. I mean, look at this. Thank you so much for this. Isn't that cute? West Chapel, Florida. Thank you so much. So much. I was talking about this young lady at the class. This was Valerie. Let's see. No, this was Lauren. Amazing, a 26-year-old lady can go through pure hell since she was born. She's had migraines since she was born. It just goes on and on, from numbness in her body, loss of speech, seizure-like, most of her life, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndromes, and that's before she was 19. So it's just amazing what this poor soul went through, but what she learned spiritually from it was just amazing. And I have to tell you, this just the mark of you beautiful spiritual beings that are on this planet that were trying to get the bodies in shape for you. So it's just great to see all of this, and I just want to thank you all for your beautiful, all your beautiful letters, Jenny. This was a nice testimonial. I don't know if I'm to use names. This person has a online though. I think she has Raw Munchies. You can go to that Raw Munchies. Maybe let's see, email the Raw Munchies at gmail.com. So I think she has a business going on, but literally her eyes are changing in front of her. She's gave us a long list of benefits that she's arrived already with this. It's amazing. And just good work on yourself, dear. Good work. And I tell you what, you guys that are putting in the time is getting the results. You put in the time and you want to let go. When you're working to get well, this is your time. So you want to just take off. This is your time. You just don't want to overstress yourself, overwork yourself, be happy, buy yourself flowers. Who cares? If you don't have anybody in your life to buy yourself flowers, buy yourself flowers. Because you have the one thing you will always have, no matter whether you lose this body or not, is the self. You will always have yourself. And you can't lose that, can't kill that, can't hurt that. Here's another one of these, the all-fruit diet scam you need to avoid. And I see some of these young people. That's a sense I have about this person who wrote this. She's very young, Jessica. And maybe not, but I have that sense. And she pushes them to see whether you follow a vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, paleo, ketogenic, or just eat whatever there is diet. Variety is the key to receiving the nutrients in your body. You know, it's interesting how people can say stuff like this on the fruits. And she brings up Steve Jobs. If anybody on this planet thinks that fruit causes cancer, then you probably need some R&R someplace far, far away. Somewhere on a beach where you can go on a fruitarian diet, maybe be taken care of by the villagers who know how to stay healthy, and learn a thing or two about life. Because that's such a stupid thought. And she didn't originate the thought, though. So, you know, not down on her for that. This has been out there that Stephen Jobs got cancer, pancreatic cancer from eating fruit, and it's like, you know, that's the kind of low consciousness that the humans are at right now. And one has to be careful not to align themselves with that, because it will pull you down into these negative forces. And the negative forces, of course, don't want you to eat fruit, because that's how you start to feel better. You're an islander. The Homo sapien body is an islander, like it or not. Then you just have to get with that. A lot of people don't want to get with that. Okay, suffer. I mean, I don't know what to say. I have no compassion with people that don't want to change the way they do when they're creating the bad things on themselves, you know. You can't take your emotional life and let someone pull it into them that's not helping themselves. You have to help yourself. Number 110. Not narcissistically. No. It's that you are the individualization of God. In simple, figure it out. Follow, trace it back. Who are you? Where you come from? How do you find those answers out? And I've been lacing all that through these videos to help you guys wake up. Wake up more and more and more. And the more you wake up, the more happier, the more the journey becomes better, that you can work with your health issues and things like that. You know, I don't even want to waste my time addressing something like this. It's a waste of time when I have all your questions here so much to reply to this fruit stupid thing. I mean, it's like, are you kidding? These are the people that have no brain power. This person saying, well, eat all kinds of food, don't matter because you need all kinds of nutrition. Oh, really? How do you know that, dear one? You're some type of big healer woman or something? You know, this is some of the problems, and you just can't buy into that. You can't buy into that at all. Matter of fact, there are frugivores. The primate family is a good example. And if the primate family, almost on all levels except the lower, smaller ones, you give them fruit and that's their life. It's accessibility. You know, it's the same thing as what happened to man. Man migrated out of the islands, which you could see why. And of course then that brought in the other levels of food. It was all mapped and planned out. I mean, this is not our world. This is the divine expressing itself. Now, whether this was predetermined or it just grows and grows as it grows and augments, who knows? Lisa, thanks for your comment here. I appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed the class. I really do. Yeah, this is something else. Megan gave me this one. Would you see this one, guys? This is the sort of thing why it's vital that you guys be out there with your helping hands to others. The name of this is from Alternative News Network. Okay. Children in 7th grade will be forcibly injected with HPV vaccine if they wish to remain in public school. And this is the health department in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, have publicly revealed that they're considering administering a countrywide, because that's all they could do, it'd be countywide, mandate to require all 7th grade girls and boys to receive the HPV vaccine before receiving admittance. Well, you know, we're getting like total Gestapo. Cameras everywhere. You must raise your head and then salute. You must get vaccinated both arms from 4 months on now. The sooner the better. Yeah, that way we can destroy your kid quicker. I mean, it's just on and on and on and on. They don't stop. And it's ominous. So we on the God side, it's all the God side, but basically we on the, we'll call it the positive side, need to keep being positive and teach the world a thing or two. Now, if you hadn't noticed, because you can't see from here, but my desk is actually clean. I actually came in here and I went through, well, maybe that table doesn't look too clean behind the camera there, but it's fairly clean. I stored all my things, so if I need a chart or something to talk to you about, I've got my drawers. I just got to get used to where everything is. So I'm working on it. Kind of amusing. Oh, this is funny. Kind of amusing. This is subject: squirrel, giraffe, spider, and fly sewer system. Why is it that most animals can consume anything and their bodies can adapt and handle it?
No!
That's not true. That's not a true statement. That's not a true statement. You start to feed your dogs like you eat, or like most people, maybe not you guys, but like the average person eats, and you'll throw them into despair. You start giving your dog too much protein, you'll create pancreatitis, hepatitis. You know, the omnivores can't handle high protein diets either. You see that in the bear family. Bears are not high protein eaters, not at all. So this is the sort of thing, and black bears rarely eat meat. So this is a big deal. So when a statement's made like that, you have to be careful, Yorkie, about that, because most animals don't consume everything, and those that do can get real sick doing it. You know, we did give our horses sugar cubes, but we also gave them apples and carrots and plenty of things like that. I always liked the alfalfa hay because my sister was into barrel racing, that sort of thing. And of course we always had oats, which I didn't realize how bad oats were. But you tend to feed your horses oats. But humans have to be complicated and tricky to be in good health. No, you know, really, most animals have to stay within their protocol. And I'll tell you another good way, another case of this is hoof and mouth and mad cow disease. You know when that started? That started by some jerk, some bright-eyed scientist that thought, oh, since we need so much protein, which is a huge lie, let's just ground up our sick cattle, our cattle with Down syndrome and all this, and let's just grind them up. Same thing with the hogs and chickens. We'll grind up the sick, and we'll feed those back to the well. So that'll give them more protein. There was on Eye on America one day, they were talking about this, what was it? This bovine growth hormone, BGH. Bovine growth hormone, right? And Fox News is the first people that really exposed this. And they had their boss had told them to go on this and do a show on, or a segment on this BGH. As being a positive thing. Well, the female particularly found out, it was a man and a woman reporter, and the female, when they found out the truth of this, they couldn't hold it back, and so they were told not to, and this was on Fox News too, they were told not to show the show. Well, they did it anyway, and they were fired. And I remember when that came up, well, Eye on America did a show like that. And she wanted to determine that it was good for you. And she had a lady from the American Dietetics Association and a man who wrote the book on milk. And he was real bad on the bovine growth hormone. And the lady from American Dietetics, they might as well just got a high school junior because she didn't know her butt from you know what. She was sickening. She had no comprehension of health and wellness or anything factually about health at all. So not good. So this female reporter was getting frustrated because the guy that wrote the book did a good job in research and everything, and the lady from the American Dietetic, she wasn't holding anything. She was losing ground badly. She wasn't too smart. So the lady goes, no, we got to go to the telephones now. Yeah, caller, first caller. Yeah, I'm an old dairy farmer from out west, and yeah, we started using that bovine growth hormone, and my cow's udders are blistering bad, and that stuff's bad, boy. And that lady hung up the phone real quick on him and everything like that, because everywhere this reporter was turning, they were proving her wrong. So the reporter started out with an agenda, like all these other CNN, they all have agendas. Time Warner, this is the World Bank, they have agendas. And so a lot of the news you hear, as like you've been learning, is fake news. Look at it now. It's being exposed even more than ever. So the problem is, how do you know what you believe is true? How do you know what you've learned in your life is actually factual or true at all? See? So you got to be careful about making different statements that are not factual. And so I was going to tell you a lot more about that story, but I'll go on with this. Consume everything and their bodies can adapt to it. That's just not true. Animals get sick big time, and the cows are getting sick, the hogs. So now you can't feed cattle to cattle, but you can feed hogs to cattle. These are herbivores. These are non-meat eaters. They handle meat worse than we do, because their gut is 30 times the length of their spine, and ours is only 12, and their spine is generally twice ours. So it's just, they have an extensive, and most herbivores have at least 4 stomachs of some type, up to 7 compartments or more. Shows you the high cellulose of vegetables and how hard it is to break down. The teeth of a herbivore grinds that and breaks that lettuce and that grass, which is lettuce, apart. We don't have that. We have a much simpler digestive tract. So you can look at this and shake it up any way you want, but no animal that has a certain, which all have a certain food source that fits their species, when they go outside of that, they can pay a price, a big price, and they do. Animals get sick out in the wild, more so now. Now here's a good one though. Jack LaLanne, age 90s. I eat fish and eggs 7 days a week. That's not the Jack LaLanne in the last few years of his life, if you hadn't noticed. I knew Jack LaLanne. Jack LaLanne became a raw foodist. I followed Jack LaLanne early on in his career. Matter of fact, I built and was a bodybuilder early on. At 19, I was trying to build 26, 27-inch arms. So I was following the Wielder program, Joe Wielder. And I was pumping it. I wasn't feeling too good either. But nope. Jack LaLanne actually got very sick following these high protein diets, went to the raw food regimen, and I bought 2 or 3 of his juicers. You know, he had a juicer on special, an all stainless steel juicer. It was only about $150, $200. So I bought that online once. But no. You gotta get your facts a little straighter, my dear one. You know, that Jack LaLanne actually turned into a health nut. But I'll give you someone who didn't, who only lived to be 93, and that was Dr. Jensen. You know, Dr. Jensen did not eat. He wasn't a vitalist. And if you're not a vitalist, your genes are the only thing going to carry you there. I can tell you right off. Only your genes are going to carry you to those long ages, not health. Dr. Jensen was not healthy. And it's just the way it is. No judgment, because George Burns, he's a good one. George Burns smoked till probably day he died. Well, probably in the end he probably just sucked on the cigars. But George Burns, again, these genes And if you ever seen George Burns' eyes, which I have, major genes. You're talking about major genes, and these people are raised differently than the children today. The children today is raised on blue larva, a drink that shines neon colors, and I mean, it's just unbelievable what some of the young are raised on and what their parents allow them to eat. The type of candies and gummies that are on the market, the type of colorings and chemicals that kids are ingesting, the type of vaccines that they're giving kids now. I mean, it's a nightmare from hell. Protect your children. I don't want to get a call from you and you got a 5-year-old with a tumor and now they're wanting to give him chemo and good luck. This Chad, they're going to kill this kid. They're going to kill this kid. These people, they have a vendetta to kill kids. If they don't get better on their chemo, which how can you? Only from your genetics, they're going to kill you till you do. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But yeah, I know George Burns, but there are people. I had a 102-year-old black man, but he was raised on fruit. 102, walk in my office and want to get well again because he was getting married for the 5th time. Remember, I told you about him. So, I get what you're saying, but some of this isn't true. I have to say that when you feed animals, and here's another good one that it's been said, I've never done this, but baby calves. Feed baby calves pasteurized milk. They can get diarrhea and die within 3 to 4 months, I've been told. So I don't know. It's enough to say that all species has a food source for their species. All species are not omnivores. They're not cross species like billy goats. Billy goats can basically eat almost anything you think. But animals do get sick, my dear one. And they don't, some don't do well at all. They fall and have accidents. They have the same problems we do if you watch long enough, you know. Oh yeah, I want to get this made here. All right. Let's see, I got 2 stacks here, so we'll just kind of play that way. But I just wanted to thank you again for coming to the class, and boy, I had a good time, man. That energy was roaring good, wasn't it? You guys were doing some hewing that was like rocking the building. You know what's funny? This was a convention center in, I think it was New Jersey. And don't quote me. But the Eckmasters were there, and they had a big convention. As soon as the convention was over, and they do a lot of the hewing and stuff like that, as soon as the convention was over, the roof fell in on the convention center. That was wild. A lot of energy going out there, and that's what we want. We want to darshan the planet, right? For those that know what darshans are. Joyce. Hey, Joyce, honey. Hi, Dr. Morse. I have watched many of your videos and have received several healings using your teachings and your wonderful herbal formulas. Thank you, dear one. The credit goes to you, my dear one, because you took care of yourself. And that's a mark of a great being, is a being that takes care of themselves and gives divine love to all. Don't you think? Absolutely. If you don't take care of yourself, who is? And we sit and we wait and we want somebody to help us. Even our loved ones, sometimes we want them to kind of give us a little goody benefit and help us, and maybe help us with our foods or some positive energies. And some of you guys have no positive energy you live around, and I feel for you, but that our positive energy surrounds you and encase you with love, and know that we're here for you, because some of you are stuck in relationships that are nightmare relationships, abusive relationships where you can't do the raw that you know you need to and you feel better on it, just all kinds of problems. So you know, you have our love, and we know about that. And all I can say is, when you can get yourselves free, you get yourselves free. Because if you don't get yourself free, you'll be back doing this until you do. That's the word I get from the fellas in the know. Through grapes and lemons, I healed a fungus in my frontal sinuses, woke up with detox symptoms in only 5 days, and got out a fungal head the size of a dime. Yeah, I mean, you can get these little plugs and stuff like that, mucus plugs full of fungus and stuff like that. Even bigger than a dime. You can get some big ass plugs out. I thought I was cured of it, but there's still more up higher in my sinuses. Well, here's the way to tell. Get a picture of your eyes. Get a picture of your eyes, because you can get to feel so good that you don't even know you have a problem. And that's the nice thing about it, because the body can repair, these weaknesses when you don't even know it. If you eat an alkaline ash diet. If you eat an acid ash diet, which is predominantly proteins, your grains, of course, is acidosis. But if you eat an alkaline ash diet, even though some of it's cooked, you might not be electrically turned on, you might not be able to detox at the level, but it won't bring you down greater. It can actually help balance you. So it's vital that you look at the acid ash foods and eliminate those out of your diet. Those are the meats, the dairies, especially the pasteurized dairies. But any dairy product after age 1, in my opinion, out the door. And the beans and the grains, these are mostly, I wouldn't even do quinoa and millet. Who cares? I mean, if you're going to do it, it's a cheat to do it. So you want to use your eyes. And in my eustachian tubes, now I don't seem to get the detox symptoms. Please help me get this out of my body. Well, here's the thing. When you start on this program, some people can go right into a detox. All it is starting the alkalizing, hydrating process. That's all what a detox is, actually. You're starting to align yourself with foods that are the highest electrical on the planet, one of the highest chemically on the planet, nutritively, in other words. Look at your berries. There's no other food like berries. They come packing. Berries are some of the most nutritional foods on the planet. I don't know where people would think they're not. Where do you think nutrition is? Is in dead grains, beans, dormant beans, high enzyme inhibitors, high phytic acid, sulfur, high sulfur chemistry in them. There's nothing healthy about dead beans. Sprout them maybe, but there's nothing healthy about grains or beans whatsoever. They're just comfort foods. And they're mostly acid ash foods, meaning they leave an acid kick in the final analysis. So you want to avoid that, dear one, and get in and really detox thoroughly. Get your kidneys filtering, look at your eyes, see where your bowels are, get your sinuses drained, your head drained, get upper circ. Spend some time, because there's no one that detoxes in a few months and rebuilds the body totally. That's impossible. But when you start on this program, you can have symptoms. Some people go months without a symptom. Others go right into a cold and flu-like symptom. When you have a cold and flu-like symptom, rejoice it, embrace it, and pray that you have a fever with it. And then your body starts opening and purging. You will purge, and I've said this many times, you will purge more in a purging, or what we call a healing crisis, than you could in months of taking raw and herbs. But when you go through one like this, it could be months before you see another one, because once you open up some of the channels, your body doesn't have to go to this level of purging, because the channel's open now. So you don't necessarily see that level of purging. It doesn't mean you're not getting better. It means that now your body was so full it was ready to pop. And now that you popped and cleaned a lot of that out, now you're rolling up the sleeves and digging in. Now you got to get into the real stuff, the deep stuff. I'm just saying. So that's why. And you just have to work on it in that way. But thanks for that, my dear. All right. And this is by Veka, Viveka. Hey, Dr. Morse, I am a woman, 71 years. To a 100-year-old man told me one day, he said, you know, a 70-year-old woman looks like a young, good-looking woman to me. 101. No, 102. 102. 71 years young and not ready to die. I like that. I like that. The doctors are checking me for lung cancer. 3 lumps were discovered in my lungs. They are trying to find out what it is. Yeah, let's find out what it is. Let's compromise the patient. Let's go in there, make the patient, let's give them some pain and uncomfortness to just figure out what these lumps are. Really? Do you really need to know where lumps come from? See, that's the problem with not understanding the great lymphatic system. You don't understand the great lymphatic system, you're out in the cold. You're out there in the cold hypothesizing about what, let's go find out what these lumps are. You don't know what lumps are, where they come from? I mean, does it matter whether a cell's in a lump or a tumor, whatever, or a swelling? You don't know what a swelling's coming from? See, they don't know any of these things. You guys know all of these things. That's amazing. I mean, pretty bad when you don't understand some fundamental stuff here. So, but I noticed 3 lumps in my lungs. I'm on a 40-day grape diet right now. Right now. 40-day grape diet right now. Okay? I wouldn't mess around with it, dear one. And this is an old question, so that's the problem with these questions. But you got to make sure that if I don't get you back real soon, which is a rare thing, you got to call in here and get going. Because this is the lymphatic system. And anytime you see swelling, lumps, and dumps, and humps, these are all lymphatics. It's not blood problems. These are not blood clots. Nothing like that at all. There's only 2 fluids that control the human body, blood and lymph. And you can just lump interstitial, what they divide interstitial fluid and lymph fluid. Yeah, that's the same stuff. You still have 20% blood, 80% interstitial or lymph. So this is again a case where the 71, and at 71 your kidneys probably aren't filtering. Most 70-year-olds probably are not having very well filtering kidneys if they haven't done this program or anything. I have pain in my whole body and very much pressure in my head, see, and that's just all this lymph system backed up all through her, and it's just building that pressure in him. Next thing they hit the cerebellum, dizziness, equilibrium, vertigo problems, and all of this. So, and she has pain all over. Well, it just shows that this is the lymph system. This is more proof that this is the lymph system, because blood doesn't cause you pain unless it isn't getting somewhere. But the lymph does, because it's acids. And acids, it causes pain. Put acids on the nervous system and see what you think. So, when the pressure in the head, I'd be candling my ears, 3 or 4 candles per ear, dear one. I would be working the neurolymphatic points, hot and cold applications to the head, and I'd be going on a grape diet for 40 days. I would try some interspersing 24 to 36 hour dry fast, and I'd be hitting to get my kidneys. I'm also going on an herbal program. I'm going after the kidneys, the adrenals, the lymph system, the GI tract. Open this, clean this up so this can drain. Oh yeah. You really want to hawk on, my dear one, if you want to stay alive. I'm also waiting for a hip replacement. Well, you're going to regenerate your body as it is, so see how far you can get with, with that. I can hardly walk. My leg has been swelling. All right. So, swelling, remember we just had swelling. Swelling is when acids are accumulating and you start to see the water osmotically being pulled into these highly chemical, acidic, dense areas. Therefore, you start to see the swelling, you start to retain water. What organs and glands are responsible for this? Kidney and adrenals. You're back to the kidney and adrenals. Whenever you see swelling at all in the body, I thought medical doctors knew that right off. Kidney failure. What's your creatinine in your blood work? Is your urine clear? See, I just got this. I can go like this, and I can just pull this out. See? I got my drawer right here. And I can pull these out. See all that sediment? That's what we're looking for. And if your urine is clear,
no.
See the little mucus threads and stuff in that? You want to see some this is the sewer system. You want to see clear water coming out of your sewer system? Because that would breed the question then, where's your sewage? That simple. It's funny right now. Trump and his daughter, such a cute thing, smart as a whip. They're in Wisconsin. And they're teaching that man has got trapped in this academic world. And there's over 6 million jobs in America that require skilled workers, not academically inclined people. So you're getting out of college with no jobs because you don't have any skills. And it just makes so common sense that they focus on developing skills. So they're working with people, and they're going to set up a way people can get skilled for these jobs instead of, because like Ivana was saying, people don't have the money to go to college. They don't, all that we know to be true. And so what a beautiful way to help people out, let me tell you, because it is skilled. And I'd like to see our educational system totally go another way. We're building narcissistic, brainless people. No offense, but there's no common sense. It's just narcissism and radical thinking and stuff like this. And so they need to develop it to where if you want to learn a skill, you go to that school and learn the skill. You don't learn a million other things to clog your mind. And it's within reason and affordable for you to learn skills. So it's exciting to see that the educational system, people wake up to this academics. We're too academically inclined. And schools have done nothing but spread it farther and farther. It takes so long to get a doctorate now, you might as well retire before you get one. And that's not fair to people, but it makes money for schools. But it's out of control. And of course, when you're busy training your mind, you're unawake. Because you're putting bulk of your attention in learning other people's ideas and concepts or theories, and you're trying to learn whatever it is you're going after, and so your mind is totally focused on those things. So you lose, unless you're awake enough that you can use your mind and still stay awake. That's one of the goals, of course. You're going to be lost that period of time. And that makes you unaware, where you can have other people much, much more aware of life than you are, because you're trapped in academic learning. You have to learn how to study anything that you want to study, but not be pulled into it and lost into it. That's how God has to teach itself, to not get lost in the Dharma or the drama and stay conscious. And then you become the conscious dreamer. And then your journey becomes greater and more expansive, and that means everyone becomes greater and more expansive, and that's how God makes its universes grow and expand. Cool stuff. My leg has been swelling, and I believe that it is, like you say, a problem with the lymph system. And then what do you think those lumps in the lungs are? Lymph system. I have had a painkiller and NSAID, every day for 8 years. And I am a strict vegetarian, cheese included. Well, my dear one, I would drop that cheese like it was a ghost pepper. Because that will just make tumors grow, my dear one. I suppose you're on fruits, berries, and melons only right now. I certainly hope you are, because with a vegetarian diet with cheese, you'll not make it. To be frank, you can't pull yourself out of it like that. You're eating foods that contribute to lymph stagnation and congestion. You don't want to do that. The foods that add to lymph stagnation and congestion are proteins, particularly your dairy proteins. But grain proteins, even your complex sugars like sucrose is very mucus forming. Very mucus forming. Mm-hmm. So with all these forms of chemistry can be. Oh, this is from Brandon. Hey, Brandon. I'm severely fatigued to the point where I can barely make myself food now. Okay, now listen, Brandon. This is why, I hate to say it, but this is where I use glandulars, because some of you guys and gals have excuse me, chronic adrenals. And when you start going on, and proteins actually keep you hyped up. It's like Red Bull. Proteins, eating a high protein diet is like being on Red Bull. They're stimulants. So you're hyped up on proteins. When you come off of protein diets and proteins, you can crash and burn. You can literally crash and burn, like coming off a coffee diet. Crash and burn. These are stimulants. And your adrenals start going tick, 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 tick. Blood pressure starts going tick, 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 tick. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm eating raw. It's still going down. And we talked about this before. It goes down to your genetic past. Well, that could be, and this lad could be 80 over. Now, add the fact that the adrenals are involved, for sure. Fungus could also be involved. So this lad could have high fungal problems contributing to the chronic fatigue syndrome. So, this is one case where I add either a 400 milligram adrenal glandular, where you do 1-3 times a day, or you can go up from there, because you want to turn those friggin' adrenals on. If you're just adamantly opposed to those glandulars, then you can do the adrenal herbal formula, but you have to add licorice root to it, because there's nothing in nature to pop your adrenal glands up faster than licorice root. And that's all you can do, and keep working and working and working. Check the pituitary. Make sure the pituitary is up and going too. Your thyroid and parathyroid. The glands control everything. Your gland should be of high consideration in your detox program. It certainly is on our list, number 2 or 3 up there. Your lymph system is always the number 1, which includes thyroid and adrenals. But we throw in the whole endocrine gland system, you've got to, and the GI tract, you've got to. These are vital tissues that you have to go after in today's world. Now, maybe not 200 years ago, but we do now. I used to be an athlete before I lost naps. I can't nap even since I took Rodelia. I always have that. My adrenals are dead, and I needed naps to survive. Yeah. You know, it's funny. What about a nap is so empowering to you? Because when you take a nap, you step out of the physical body. As a rule, you move your attention out of your body and you put it somewhere else. You can call that dreaming, or you can call that imagination, you can call that whatever you want. When you do that, you allow that energy to totally fill that body full of energy. Because thought, emotion, all of these things take energy out of you. When you're already facing extreme adrenal fatigue like he is, you're in trouble. But you got to go after them. That's why I like the glandulars on the adrenals. When you're this bad, sometimes you just go, okay, I'll take the adrenal glandular, you know. You lose that pseudo sense that things die. No one dies in creation, man. So yeah, you want to look at this, and that's another case for why high fruit diet, high electrical diet. When your nervous system's down, you got to eat high electrical foods. I mean, eating cooked foods for this lad will just take him down to extreme fatigue. I purchased some of your formulas a while back and tried them. My kidneys filtered, but the fatigue was so unbearable regardless. You got to go the adrenal 400s, my opinion. I was using the endocrine gland formula too. Still fatigued, not strong enough. Not strong enough. Not strong enough when you have this level of fatigue. I'm telling you, it's not strong enough. That's why. Listen, if I thought it was, you think I'd be using glandulars? Come on. You got to know who I am here. But when you're like you, I'm going to go for you. And if you're going to slaughter animals for food for people that don't understand not to eat it, then we're going to use the organs out of them. And we're going to use New Zealand because they have humane laws. So if you're going to slaughter them, let us have the tissues, because you harvest tissues out of humans. So we're going to harvest some higher vibrational tissues so we can help some humans. We're going to learn so in the future nobody has to eat dead animals and eat all this, and we'll work ourselves out of these lower levels of the Homo sapien consciousness. But that's going to be a while. I'm broke, stuck at home waiting for disability approval. I don't know what to do. I have no support. All right, here's what I did for you. This is going to Jennifer, and I'll have her see what money we've got for giveaways, and I'll get you together something. But I'm going to send it to you, but I want you to take it. Adrenal 400s. Adrenal with licorice. Let's see if we can't help you there, lad. Real important, okay? I know a lot of you are stuck like Brandon here. And we're all going to do our level best. We still have this movie producer that wants to put us in Discover Channel, so I don't know where that is. But she has investor friends, movie stars, that want places to put their money. And what better place than to help people? Holy crap. I hear all this, people helping people, but I just don't see it. Shania Twain told me one day, she said, yeah, I help all these children. Really? All right. She would like this addressed on YouTube. She is filling out the health questionnaire for both daughter and the dad, too. All righty, here we go. This is Grace. Hello, Dr. Morse. I hope this email finds you well. Yep, feeling pretty good. Had a hell of a good class. You guys are something else, boy. You got me wound up. Yeah, I can get wound up pretty easy. I told you I could. I am writing to you in desperation. I am facing two awful diseases within my immediate family. Man, come on, Mucus. I have a daughter, 18 years of age. This is real small writing, so if I'm squinting, it's just because this is real small. Look at this. So small I can hardly read it. 18 years of age, who has been diagnosed with diabetes type 1. All right? And her father, Gilbert, who is slowly dying of clear cell renal cell carcinoma. Clear cell renal cell carcinoma. Stage 4. That's not good. And it is very aggressive. I have been given a wealth of information by a close friend of mine who says you saved her life and her husband's life. I am turning to you for advice and guidance as all our attempts at healing have failed. All right. So before I read on, hubby. Hubby has only one road to hoe. Only one road to live. And that is, I would, just like the question before, I would jump on a 40-day grape diet. Darker the grape, the better. You can juice them, you can eat them, I don't care. I would definitely get on herbs for the kidneys, one herbal formula for the lymphatic. You want the endocrine glands, clean up the bowels. You want to put your hubby into one of our counselors' hands. It's not expensive. We don't charge lots of money here. We're not like some of these other clinics that don't help you and charge you out the butt. But you want to get your feet on the right path when it comes to hubby, because stage 4 renal failure or cancer is no laughing matter. And, there's not a lot of life left. So you really want to go desperately and focused and get onto this. So hubby, you have no choice. The daughter, as a type 1, should follow your lead and go on the same grape diet as you have. She'll glucose load maybe for a few days, but then her blood sugar should come right down and stabilize, maybe somewhere around 100, 120 or so. If you could pull that off. I know people don't realize fruit, sugar, and type 1, but type 1 is a glucose problem, not a fructose problem. All right? We're looking at an insulin production problem. We're looking at beta cell problems. You can work on the pancreas and the beta cells. You want to work on the nervous system in case it's a neurological type 1. So you're going to be working on the nervous system with her. You're going to be working on her pancreas right off. But you're going on the lymph system, which suppresses the beta cells. You're going on the system that's a causative factor to all of these problems. You're always going to go after that system on each and every one of you guys, on your friends and everybody. You're going on the lymph system. If you just did that one system, it's amazing what you could cure. Just the one system, which touches all cells in the human body. All right. Gilbert's only 47, by the way. You see, this is the problem. I've said this before. We're facing 40-year-old deaths all over the place, 40-year-old kidney failures, 40-year-old cancers of every type, 40-year-old dementia and Alzheimer's. We're facing, we're seeing balding. I saw a baby the other day. It was about 8 months old, no hair. That's a serious problem. You don't have hair on your baby at 7 months old? That's a serious problem, guys. I mean, we got to wake up to how we identify health in our babies and in ourselves, and be awake with that. My 18-year-old daughter was diagnosed with diabetes type 1 in March 2014. Oh, that's not too far back. She is on slow-acting and rapid-acting insulin every day. It is horrible, and it is, because the more insulin she takes, the less her beta cells will produce, and actually the more problems she has. It isn't a win-win when you're taking insulin at all for anybody. But this is very fixable. And you want to treat this, because since you don't know, you want to treat this both as a potential neurological case and as a beta cell weakness itself. The difference meaning you would be using a brain and nerve formula with this one, and I would use it anyway on her. And all this synthetic insulin makes me worry about the future will be like for her. Well, I can tell you. Look at Marcy. For her body, for her life. She is first-year university student under a lot of stress, and her sugars go up and down constantly. Does that tell you that she has an adrenal involvement with it? Yeah. Your adrenals are your emotional glands, so you stress with that, and you stress with your steroids. Remember the old thing on cortisol? So you stress with these. But stress is acidosis, so you can see why the steroid involvement, because your chemical involvement is going to stress your hormone and steroid involvement. It goes on and on and on like that. Gilbert is a 47-year-old stage 4 reoccurring whatever, and metastasized. All right, here we go. It's even more here. Metastasized to the liver, lungs, intestines, and brain. The old man is in trouble, honey. 47 years young, Jesus criminy. He has a left kidney removed. In September 16, he has 16 nodules in his lungs and has had 4 brain tumors. Well, here's the problem. He's already had a kidney removed, right? Nephrectomy? He attempted healing therapy at a cancer research clinic. A healing therapy? What? Clinic in Mexico, yeah, but I think, is that Contreras Clinic? I mean, I'm familiar with some of the clinics down there. Yeah, not so good. In Mexico in February 2017, he ended up in hospital with an obstruction in large intestine, resulting in an ileostomy. Oh, Jesus criminy, man. His oncologist told him he is dying of his cancer and all he can offer is chemotherapy. And Gilbert agreed. Poor Gilbert. 47 years old. His oncologist saying, you're dying of your cancer and all I can give you is chemo for hope or the acceleration of this young man's death. No, to get a lot little money he can out of him while he's still alive. And that sounds pretty gruesome, but this would be the only reason that you would give a dying soul chemotherapy is for the money of it. That'd be the only reason, knowing what chemotherapy is. That's a sick medical doctor right here. Gilbert agreed, and he has been on chemo 2 weeks now. He also had radiation to his brain twice. Well, your man has done everything to terminate his own life. So, you know, these are the kind of cases we get. People holler at the very last minute, oh, I need help, I need help. Yeah, you needed help a long time ago. And when people like Gilbert open their door and allow the medical profession to literally destroy their body, and then they come to us wanting us to help them, you know, it stresses us pretty bad. Because we don't want to see a dad die at 47 years old and has got an 18-year-old daughter here. We don't want to see that. But you don't have people kill you. I mean, people got to wake up here, and the only thing I know is why I do these videos is cases like this and you guys. This is sickening. So they fried his brain twice. Your man has one road and one road only. I said this before I even read this, and it's one road and only one road to hoe. His life is fruit, berry, and melon only. And if he doesn't want it, give him a lot of love and get everything in order, because he's going. Because you're not going to make this, and it'll be lucky, no offense, that he makes it now. You know, he just has time for him to go into another journey if he's not careful here. He's done everything to deteriorate him. He did try in Mexico. That was a good try. But unfortunately, they suck down there too. So, but he does still have a chance. And that chance is without chemo, without radiation. Sometimes he's got to pull it and say, you know what? Medical doctors, you don't even know what causes this. You'd have done nothing but treat me, and I'm worse than I ever been. Understand that they're the ones blocking his ability to find truth. If I can't help you, I'm going to try to send you somewhere that can. It's about saving lives. Not really. The first time for a single, let me see here. The first time for a single tumor and the second time for 3 tumors. This was the radiation in the brain. He is losing weight, you think. And now at 147 pounds from 165 pounds in mid-February, he is devastated. Well, no offense, but did Gilbert ever think that chemo and radiation was going to save him? They don't save anybody. There's some people out there that can argue that point. I have one guy that did radiation therapy to a tumor in his colon, but he was doing our program, and he was kept doing our program, and we were able to get rid of the tumor. But he had radiation to reduce it so he could poop. But we were able to keep the radiation from killing his other cells and saved him. Had he not been doing this, that radiation would have destroyed his colon wall, and then he would have just had a herniation or an aneurysmic event there. Same thing in the brain. So Gilbert's got to get focused big time. And like I said, I'm living on a 40-day grape diet. Anybody want to join me? Yeah, my 18-year-old daughter. Come on, honey. Okay? Oh my God. We are all devastated. My other daughter is only 8 years old. Jesus Christ. And is confused about her father's health and why he is not getting better. Well, it's high time you explain to her that Daddy is not going to be around unless Daddy changes his consciousness. And then it's going to be a race. You can't, this is sick. By now, I hope you've got a hold of us. I don't know, I'm going to try, guys. We're doing everything we can to help Gilbert and Francesca, but we still need help. I have been reading your book, the Detox Miracle Source book, and I have been learning a lot. We are eating more fruit, more raw fruits and vegetables. No. No, your husband and your daughter, especially your husband, has to be 100% fruits, berries, and melons. No vegetables, no nothing. This man is you get a race here to save your husband. And You can't mess around. Food, that's what's causing this. And you got to pay real strict attention. This is, you have got, he's got one road to roll and one road only. And less proteins. Oh, no, not for your husband. No proteins. No, I'm just telling you, he has got no time to play around with this. Let me take a week or two and no, you don't have a day or two. You do now. No, not tomorrow. Now. You're my client. You're going to do it now, or I'm not going to help you. Because you're dying. You. I have been introduced to your tea Heal-All and have purchased it for my family. I have joined your club as well. I am focusing on love, and giving love to everyone becomes easier as I have found God again. Yeah, you know what? You have to. You've got to give a lot of love to that soul called hubby, and just give him a lot of love and get him inspired. Let him see this video. And Gilbert, you got to do the fruit thing, man. You got to live on fruit only, or you're not going to enjoy your 8-year-old or 18-year-old. And I'm not just being mean. I'm being truthful. I've been 45 years pulling people out of these deeper levels, and some we can and some we can't. So you want to be real strict, and get the love going, get your flowers going. Gilbert needs to be loved by the ladies, and loved by himself, and taken care of. And Gilbert, you got to take care of yourself here. You want to live, then I need all the energy in your body to live. And you got to have the right chemical and electrical focus to live. You have to stand up to the medical doctor and say, I'm done with destroying my body. I have a family. I am teaching my daughters and their father the same. Be love and give love and find God, as God is everywhere. God is everywhere and in everything. Omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. Says it all right there. The Buddhists just have, in Buddhism and sometimes in Hinduism, they have one word that says what we might say like that. So like when we say you reap what you sow, they say karma. We might have a quicker version saying for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. Well, karma is just one word that describes that. So Hinduism, Buddhism always has one word that describes that sort of thing. So where one says omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient, that's Christianity. Buddhism will simply say consciousness. Because, in fact, that which is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omnipresent is consciousness. Because it is infinite, it has no form, because it can't have form to be infinite, and you start to get the picture. Yeah, and that's where your awareness actually comes from, not the mind. That's another little car you're driving, but the awareness through the mind. If you condition your mind to control, then your awareness has to sift through the mind, through all those thoughts, and you lose your awareness that way. But if you kick back from the mind, realize your mind is like a car, and when you decide to use it, you use it. But you don't have to follow it. You don't have to follow your thoughts. You can keep back and watch your thoughts and watch your mind bring them back to you. That's a little trick spiritually some of you guys spiritually have to learn. I'm still playing with it. Dr. Morse again, I am sure how well Gilbert can adapt to this. I am not sure how well Gilbert can adapt to this new life when it comes to the diet. He has that much choice. That much choice, honey. And if he doesn't, just give him a lot of love. Just give him a lot of love. Because, and it says fruits give him diarrhea. That's because they're opening him up and purging him. Absolutely. And it doesn't matter. Let him purge him. Use the zero bowel formula to see if you can slow it up. But you got to go to the fruit. There's no stopping it. You can't care what you see. You just can't care what you see. You've got a dying man right now that hasn't got long to live. So whatever you see, you just can't worry about it. And he can't either. But you've got to put yourself on life-saving fruits. The only level that can save you. Vegetables can't save you. Not him right now. Not at stage 4. And you want to get his kidneys filtering, or kidney. I don't know what he's got left. I am not. His ileostomy bag fills quite quickly. Is it permanent? Did they give him a permanent bag? They probably did because they think he's going to die. Fills quite quickly, multiple times throughout the day, all liquid. You know what? This is how bad it gets. This is how bad it gets, guys. And bags hanging off of you with your stool going into it, your tissues falling apart in your body, tumors growing in you the size of baseballs, and from one system and one system only. How sad. And one side of cancer or chemistry predominantly. One side of chemistry predominantly. You understand what acids are, and you understand what the lymph system is at the level that we teach it. You've got it. You've got the answers to help fill in so many blanks that the medical doctors can't fill in. And you are learning a remedy that is non-invasive and that will actually give a remedy, not a treatment that yields no remedy. You want a remedy, right? You don't want to just maintain your body like it is. You want wellness. You want vitality. You want vigor and vim. You want intelligence and awakeness. You know, or you're going to be like this lad going out. There's a family, but I can't change my diet. I'm going out. I can't change my diet. Well, bye. I don't mean to sound discompassionate, but if you want our compassion, you have to stand up and say, I will work for it. I will work for my health. Since I created this problem, I can uncreate this problem. You have to realize we all create these problems. It's so convenient to say you have cancer. It's so convenient to say you have a disease. That's why the medical doctors flourished. Take the responsibility away, and they love to do that. Oh, don't worry, it's nothing you're doing. It's nothing you're eating. Oh yeah? It's everything you're doing, sitting on top of your genetics. And that's factual as you can friggin' get. But don't worry about it. It's nothing you're doing. These are diseases. We don't know what causes them or anything about them, but these are diseases. Jesus Christ. I hate to read even more. Make me cry. As for Sarah, I believe she can handle anything. She is a strong and courageous young woman. She better be at 18, because unless Daddy gets something going around, she's not going to have a father here. Who want to live a long and happy life without taking insulin. Well, you can fix it. It's a regeneration. You just got to regenerate a few things. This is her dream. And this dream can come true for her very easily, my dear. So there's a lot of hope for your daughter here, I might say. But again, you're coming out of the genes of you and your father or your husband, which means your daughter probably has kidney, adrenals, and lymphatic problems. Some of her type 1 could be adrenals. There is an adrenal connection, in my opinion, also to type 1. Which is also involved in sugar metabolism. No matter how you shake this, your adrenals are involved in sugar metabolism. Your beta cell just produces insulin. I think I should stop writing now, as I could go on and on. I feel you are the one that would shed some light on our family and guide us to the right direction. I anxiously await your response. Thank you even. I love you, honey. So I'm sorry that I have to be so direct, but you know, Gilbert can't handle it. Gilbert, you need someone to talk to you directly, man to man, and where you can man up and start learning. You're just blowing like a leaf in the wind, and medical doctors are using a blower to blow you around. You got to grab your grit. You want to live. You got to grab your own world, your own health, and start learning why man creates these problems in him. What is he eating? These are foods we're eating, right? No. Man does not eat predominantly foods. Man eats predominantly what? I mean, meat might be a food for somebody. A neon drink of some color might be food for somebody. Probably worse than lighting up a lightning bug or something. I mean, it's like, oh my God, I don't know. But we'll be glad to help you. but I need Gilbert to help himself. And Gilbert needs to start right now. Of course, you're not going to get this video for a couple of days. And this has probably been a month or two. I haven't done a video in 3 weeks. I've been in class, then I took off to the mountains. I had to get some R&R. I've been working night and day here the last 6 months. So I feel for you. Jesus. I don't know. I just feel for these families. And this is just one of millions of families around the world, guys. And this is how important you guys are to this world. Not that I'm laying this on you guys, but you know, that beautiful hand of God, that beautiful hand of divine love that you guys are, helping others, that's the key. And this world is a sick world. So, but Gilbert, you created this karma yourself, and even though you didn't realize it. You know, we are lied to when we get to this planet. We're lied to from people that are already here. People that are gone already left. So, you know, this is a place where you've got to get street savvy. You got to understand what's the bull crap, what's true and what's not true, and that's difficult. But you have the internet, which is somewhat helpful, because at least you are shown many different options, and you can make your own mind up. Ivy. Hi, Ivy. Hi, Dr. Morse. I've been watching your videos nonstop. Oh, thank you for what you do. Thank you for watching them. I was misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease 11 years ago. Crohn's is where you get the thickened bowel wall, and you can go down to where you can't hardly pass stool. I had a Fox News broadcaster's wife one time had it so bad. I'm going to tell you because it sounds bizarre, but I'm thinking I was using 15 to 20 of our number 5s and 3 or 4 of Schultz's number 1s just to get her stool to go through. I finally got her. I finally pulled her kidneys and got the lymph and the walls reduced, and I finally got her, but holy crap. And it's just one step to ulcerative colitis, you know. I mean, it's all acidosis interstitially, just burning. How far does the burn go? How deep does it go? You know, that sort of thing. I still have stomach issues and am chronically dehydrated. All right? I went vegan, but am still suffering with stomach issues and dehydration. Well, dehydration and stomach issues as well. You know, this is all interstitial stuff. And all this is saying that interstitial, that means in the wall of your stomach, around your cells, you have sewer system that isn't moving well. And Crohn's is a good example to show you that when the lymph system isn't filtering through the kidneys, these are just the symptoms you suffer with. Stomach problems, production problems of hydrochloric or pepsin, these sort of things. Skin problems, chronic bladder infections, and constipation. So I can tell you right off, you're genetically compromised in kidneys, the adrenal glands. So you really want to focus on those and get your urine filtering, your kidney filtering, to where you see sediment in that, and really start moving on that lymph system. That'll also clean the bladder out. But this is just lymph stagnation in the bladder walls. The dehydration is just shows you systemic acidosis, which creates systemic dehydration, which is nothing good comes from that because it's systemic acidosis. And acid is what damages and mutates cells. So it's inflammation on the outside of a cell, but after a number of years it becomes intracellular acidosis, and that's when the time clock for that cell I never have energy or eat incredibly clean. When I attempt to go raw, I get incredibly bloated. Please help. Well, that's part of the problem here with the bloating. You could have sulfur in there, and that, of course, when your fruits start to interact with sulfur, start to create bloatiness. So, I'll have to say this. Get on the herbs with your foods. I'm telling you guys, it makes all the difference in the world. I created these formulas to work, to save you this bloatiness and some of this stuff. Does it save you from every single healing crisis and effect from detox? No. Then it's not going to. but you've got to move through this, dear one. You've got to push through these things, but you want to get on an appropriate herbal discourse. Then, in fact, I would do at least the first kit, even for a month. It'll deworm yourself. It'll go after the appropriate tissues that you're after. So do kits 1 and 2 for a whole month. The kits last 2 weeks. So that's 2 kits. Do that and then step back and see where you are. Get a picture of your eyes. Get used to using your eyes, your irises. That's where the truth is, soul. So that's what I would do and get out of this situation. Chronic constipation, I'd use probably stomach and bowel number 2 or 3. Get yourself moving. Get your adrenals up so your nervous system is up. You start getting your nerves moving better. That'll give you better peristalsis, better bowel movements, and you can come down to number 1 again. Easy to do type of stuff. But you want to get honking on your lymph system because that's just what's happening. I mean, what's going on here, honey, and you got to fix this, okay? And you just got to get this lymph system fixed because that's your Crohn's, and nothing ever good comes of sitting there with acids chewing on your intestinal walls. That's for sure. All right, so here's some questions. April 13th. God, this was April 13th. That was my birthday. That's how old this is. I apologize, guys, but it's really hard for me to get them right when you need them. I'm telling you, it's just almost impossible. So I appreciate you keep asking me because it's a good training tape. This is Jesse. Grateful if you answer my questions below. My first question is, would it be possible for you to give us YouTube classes on the use of glandulars? You know, I'll do a tape on glandulars. I can do a small tape on glandulars, but I don't find them a big as deal as people let on. To me, they're just desiccated raw tissue. So when you're taking an adrenal gland formula, you're taking raw desiccated adrenal tissue, bovine source, cow source. And these are raw adrenal tissues. And through radioisotopes, Lee and a lot of the others, Lee was Standard Process Labs. I had some of Lee's original handwritten works. But he was a well-known biochemist by the time Standard Process really got out there. But there are other companies that have done glandulars better, and now Standard Process moved to the back because they don't even guarantee organic. No, they're into commercial cows and stuff like that. They used to have their own farms, raise their own cattle. They don't do that anymore. So I don't even think we sell their fast food liquid, maybe a couple of things, but they've ruined their company doing that. In my opinion, we're strict organic. And we're strict with these sort of things. So we'll drop any company that's not. So, but they're just, and he used radioactive isotopes to prove that these tissues, that the chemistry goes right to the cells of the adrenal glands when you use adrenal form. The same thing with the thyroids. They're energetic too. You got to remember, chemistry is also energy. And energy actually created chemistry. So you have to look, this in our classes, I teach from the Godhead down or out to this world. I don't teach, we look from this world chemically up into consciousness, but I start off teaching from consciousness down to this world. It gives you a better perspective because you must change your perspective from being the little human that's being bumped around and being hurt by the forces of this world to the God person who's here on a journey, who is an individualization of the one, who is here with full bore consciousness and everything else, but reduced down by the bodies. So I like to teach you differently and how you change the way you look, the perspective from which you look from. Makes a lot of difference than little old soul looking up to something that you can't even comprehend, and yet you come from there. You're a part of that. See, and that's the illusion that keeps you the separate little human that couldn't possibly know the ultimate, the God of all gods, the God everyone at least is talking about. So when you change your perspective and you stop the mind from thinking and you're working in the present, in the now, in the present moment, That's consciousness. Thought takes you immediately out of the now, out of consciousness. That's designed to. It's supposed to. That creates the drama, the journey, the programs, that begins the director, the producer of your movie. The movie you're in right now. Remember? Being recorded by your causal body. So glandulars, we just use them to enhance, wake up the cells. You know, after a while, same old chemistry and proteins, the cells are getting beat up, the low energy, the body just goes down, gets tired, and there's no hope. When you start turning it on to energetic sources, everything starts waking up, cells start waking up, I'm alive again. Well, that's what a glandular does. But you can reach saturation. And don't mean to confuse you, but saturation in chemistry, there's saturation in ionization. When I'm an acid, and I'm going to steal the electrons, which is the alkaline components out of atoms, I'm going to steal more of the electrons so it'll neutralize me more. I'm an acid. And the only way I can be stopped from or buffered is with an alkali, with other minerals or other chemistry high in electrons. Because the lower in electrons means the higher in protons, the more acidic of the element or whatever nature you are in a chemical compound or whatever. So there is a saturation of that, though, or you would simply make an acid to a base and a base to an acid, and you flip-flop the minerals, and I don't know how that'd be. So there is a saturation to that. I can only steal so much of your electrons. But it's in that homeostatic kind of consciousness that we think that's out there, which things are so much constantly moving, I doubt if there's ever any homeostatic period at all to anything. Maybe a fractional second of something. I get on a tangent here, but so you want electrical foods, you want electricity. Well, that's what these are. They're electricals, and they go right to the respective glands, and they wake them up, they turn them on, and they're non-hormonal or steroidal. Medical doctors have been trying to do that through hormones and steroids that your glands produce, failing miserably because they've now learned that it makes the gland weaker. They've hid that, though, and said, nah, like one medical doctor told my client that it'll make your adrenals go to sleep if you take a steroid, but they'll wake up stronger. They'll wake up stronger. Sometimes they don't wake up because the medical doctors don't take them off the steroids, and when they do, they're already weaker. They're on a diet that is energy robbing because you cooked all the energy out of the food, you agglomerated the chemistry in it. So now you're eating foods that suck the energy out of you instead of give you energy. I find it very laughable that humans want energy and then they eat cooked food. I find that insane. I don't know. And I only use them short term to pop up. I use the adrenals more than anyone, and I use the adrenal granulars for, and I think I already gave you the protocol. I use the 400s for a couple of months, then I go down to the 200s. I start adding the herbal adrenal, and I when I leave the granulars off, I hitchhike licorice root to my adrenals. That way, I'm going to give some power increasing blood pressure, because the potential is just like we were talking about, I think with Brandon, one of the others, this. I have no energy. I don't have anything. My adrenals are so low. That's the genetics and what people are doing to us. There's this planet and the type of foods, it's a nightmare. So I'm going to read this, and this will be all, because you have a lot of questions here, my man. You touch on them in a few videos, but a few explanations would be really, a full explanation would be very helpful. How many glandulars can be used at any one time? Doesn't matter. Keep in mind, though, they're a protein source. So I'm a little cautious with overloading glandulars. I generally only use one in the adrenal, unless there's insomnia big time, and then I'll put a pineal glandular there until you get enough rest to get healthy and well. If you don't get rest, you're not going to get well. So if we have to use a glandular temporary, okay. I will use the pituitary. I don't use pituitary glandulars very often because they're real strong. Pituitary is a little bitty fella. I will use thyroid glandulars, but I don't like over 100 and maybe 50 milligrams at the very most. And also, but I use a lot of parathyroid glandulars and adrenal glandulars. I do. So, you'll see formulas. Like I'm having one made for me now that has thyroid, parathyroid, and pituitary in it. I need this. This is my bones formula. So I need a glandular that will hit up the thyroid for calcitonin, the parathyroid for parathormone, and the pituitary for PTH and TSH. Thyroid and parathyroid stimulating hormones. So I wanna boost these up, and then go in with the other herbs to go after the tissues as well, because we have a load of depression, suicidal depressions, and happinesses, and all kinds of things, fat bones, all kinds of problems, spinal cord. I need to get connective tissue and everything back online again. So I'm going to go after this. I'm a healer, but you have to understand everything is the way it should be. That's in God's world. So what we're doing is creating a whole new level of understanding in health. As we pull people up to this higher level, those people that eat meat and stuff will drop off. This lower consciousness will fade away. You can't make it disappear. It has to disappear on its own. And education and consciousness and spirituality helps to get above those things. And that's what we're doing, as much as we can and as fast as we can. How long could one take a glandular? I used to keep them on for a long time, like 6 months or more. I don't do that anymore. I believe there's an energetic saturation. Now, some don't seem to get it. Others will take an adrenal 400 for a while, and they boost up, and then it doesn't help them anymore. They feel more tired. That's when you've reached saturation. You reach saturation when you don't see the kick that you've been getting from it. Well, I don't want to push that, because I want to keep building health, building energy, and building health. So I just want to use temporarily to bump up, to enhance, and go on. That's all. That's me, though. Do you ever keep a difficult case on a glandular for extended periods? You betcha. You betcha. I will do anything to save your butt if you want me to. Anything to save you. I mean, and we got Gilbert here that's going to have to do a lot of things to save himself. Proper attitudes, a whole line of things. Like the wife said, a lot of love, a lot of compassion. Gilbert needs to learn what's going on with life and the adrenal glands and get loaded at least with knowledge. Because if Gilbert doesn't make it, he's still Gilbert. He's just losing a physical body. If he leaves, he's just losing his physical body. He still is conscious being. So what he's learning now, he'll take with him. As sad as that might sound, it's not sad. We all do that. We're all on long journeys. We learn at this level, we go to another level, you learn. Oh no, this isn't the only place you guys have been. Not even close. Oh. How do you integrate a glandular into an herbal protocol? I just add it in. I add it on top of the rest of them because I don't care. I'm only using them to give that bump. So I don't care. I'm still going the herbal focus. That's my number one focus. I'm only using glandulars to give that kick up there. For a same gland, do you start with the glandular or the herbs? Good question. I generally start with the glandular. Our weeks 1 and 2, I like the adrenal 400 glandular in there. That's 2 weeks. The next month then is another protocol, and I do protocols by the month, 4 weeks at a time. I'll do another 400 adrenal glandular for that month. Then I start going to the 200s for the next month. And then maybe the third month, I'm going to add the licorice. I'm adding the adrenal formula when I go to the herbal formula when I'm going to the adrenal glandular 200s. I don't need to add the adrenal herbal when I'm using the 400s. But when I'm using the 200s, I do add the adrenal formula. And then when I kick off, I'm going to pull the licorice in, because by then your adrenals are going to the genetics. And some of your genetics, like in Brandon and some of these, they're real low. they're like in the 80s. I mean, they're really low. And you add fungal problems on top of that, you got some serious chronic fatigue stuff. For example, for the adrenals, if you intend to give an adrenal glandular, do you start with the herbal formula and then move on to the gland? No, I start with the glandular first. Now, when the thyroid, parathyroid, I'm already getting the body moving a little bit. I don't jump right into those because I want to get things moving. Once I get things moving, the adrenals help to get the kidneys to filter. That's why I'm going immediately after them. Plus, it's your autonomic nervous system. So I'm going immediately after the adrenals. We don't have to go immediately after thyroids and parathyroids. Wait about a month and let everything start moving, sinuses maybe clean a little bit, and then go after them. You'll get a better kick on them. These are just some of the secrets of how you use these things and how you help people, get well. Do you use them for most of your clients now or only difficult cases? Everyone. My protocol, everyone gets adrenal 400s for the first 2 weeks, for the next 4 weeks, then the 200 for the next 4 weeks, another 200, and I'm bringing in the licorice and the other adrenals. Are there any situations which exclude their use? There are. Anytime you have a goiter or anytime you have a tumor on a gland, I do not give anything for the gland. Whenever you have a cyst on the gland, I'm a little cautious with that. Whenever the gland is in peril, I'm real cautious, especially with a tumor or it's been diagnosed of cancer. I'm real careful about giving anything for that gland. You get a big, gigantic goiter, I'm not going to get, and you might be in hyper or hypothyroid mode, doesn't matter. I'm not giving you anything. And you never use a glandular in a hyperactive case. Matter of fact, in a hyperactive situation, I don't give anything that relates to that tissue. Like if you had a hyperactive spleen, that's rare, but if you ever did, I wouldn't give you anything for the spleen. That sort of thing. You want everything to settle down. Well, detox settles everything down. From a hyperactivity, you would prefer a hyperactivity as opposed to a hypo. Let me tell you, hyper is so much easier to deal with and get rid of than hypo, especially in the chronic levels of hypoactivity. It can take you months or years to fix, depending. Are there any situations where exclude their use? Yeah. With high blood pressure, do you detox until it goes? Now, this is interesting. In a high blood pressure case, of course, I never use licorice. But I will use these glandulars, and I don't seem to have a bump on the blood pressure. That's what I'm looking for. Because I need to get to the adrenals, but it's involved in high blood pressure because the kidneys have kicked. So I got to still work those tissues. See what I mean? So don't make them a bigger deal than they are. They're just this light tissue can energetically enhance light tissue. That's just the same thing as if I'm going into a room. It's almost a homeostatic thinking. I'm going into a room of people that are laughing, and they're just roaring. They're laughing. Someone told a big one, and they're just laughing, and I just walked into the room. I have no idea. Pretty soon, I can't help it. I'm going to start laughing with them. I have no reason why I'm laughing, but I'm going to be laughing with them because it's an energetic, it's infectious. It pulls you into it, and that's what energy is. And so, same thing. It's an energetic bump. And sometimes I think your cells need that, especially in these genetic slumbers. When cells are genetically thinking they're no good anymore, it's, just kind of basically is a way. I'm genetically weak, I can't function anymore. And then you start taking like cells that say, yes you can, yes you can. You start waking up those cells. That's just a kind of an analogy I think is somewhat appropriate, maybe. Do you systematically give a pancreas glandular in type 1 pancreas, and if so, how long generally? Well, you could. I have not done that, but you could. Matter of fact, it'd be neat if they had some beta cells, not just the whole pancreas, of course, is what we would be getting, but absolutely. You could definitely in type 1. Matter of fact, this 18-year-old could use a pancreatic glandular to enhance the beta cells. But you don't know that it's a beta cell thing. It could be a neurological type 1. So I would use a glandular for the pancreas, and then also pop up the nervous system with the brain and nervous system. Now, if you wanted to, I would use the glandular for a month, maybe 2 months. Then I would go to the herbs for that. But generally, when you start to see these things, realize what's deep behind these genetic weaknesses and behind these weaknesses in cells. Acidosis in the lymph system, whether your great-great-granny did it, or Uncle Tom did it, or whoever gave you the genes, it don't matter. This is the system that's creating these problems in man, whether it's 500 years ago or 1,000. Man's body hasn't changed that much. Do you ever use glandulars for children? Absolutely do. We just cut them up. Absolutely do. Or when they're a capsule, we open them up. Absolutely. But not as much. Because a child really is growing good. And when we go after the herbs in a growing child and a raw diet, especially a high fruit diet, man, their bodies correct things so fast that I really don't give too many glandulars with children. Don't have the need to do that. Yeah, so... Oh, this is Jesse. Hey, Jesse. Well, I hope that helps you a little bit with those, because I have to cut this video off now, but I hope, Jesse, that helps you a little bit there and with that. And I'll try to do another one. There's not much more I can say outside of that, though, to tell you the truth. They're not something that's a big deal, in my opinion. I wouldn't be using glandulars if I didn't see the benefit of them. I don't use things where I don't see benefits, especially animal tissue. I don't have the same kind of thing, death and destruction of that, because there's no destruction in consciousness, you know. And we're all in physical form currently at this level talking, and so, you know, death is only a molecular rearrangement here on this planet. But, love you guys. Thanks for coming to the class, you guys. It was a lot of fun. Boy, was that a lot of fun. And Artie, you did well. I tell you, I love that day. And your rooms through the seminar, it was just so neat. Crystal healing, all types of adjustments. You guys missed out on a lot of cool things. I tell you, we're building a very strong base. We've got, you guys are curing people out there that medical doctors only wish they could. So I love you guys. Be strong. Be love. And we'll see you on the next video. And I apologize that it was so long between them, but so much has been coming down in the last 3 weeks between the class, and I had to get out of Dodge. Had to. But love you. Yes.